The DNA coil is available now, and while the original DNA was fairly polarizing, this Pearl version seems to be more user-friendly, so let's take another look at it, this time with Zach Rhoades. Zach is on the Kegel Chromium Challenge pattern at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas, where they always take great care of us. We use this pattern for testing because it's a good benchmark pattern. It's not too easy but not too tough, so it really helps us figure out where balls fit and how they relate and compare to each other. The graph is linked in the description if you want to take a look at the details. His layout information is up on the screen for those that understand, and if you don't know what all these numbers mean or all the core numbers we're going to talk about next, I have a few instructional videos linked in the description that will teach you everything you need to know about cores, core dynamics, and layouts, but I still need to share the details for the more experienced viewers. Like I mentioned to open, the coil is a Pearl version of the original DNA. It's got the same EXO cover formula, which Storm claims is their strongest cover stock to date, but which no one saw in the DNA and no one is really seeing in the coil either. Now that's not a big deal. It's kind of dumb that people tend to equate good with more hook and more back end. Something being stronger or weaker than it's supposed to be isn't an issue as long as you know where it fits. But a lot of people heard strongest cover ever and saw the core numbers and thought that meant the DNA was going to be stronger than the gem, which wasn't a thing, and the coil definitely isn't in the same area code as the exotic either, to get that straight here too. It comes out of the box at the Reactagloss polish, and it seems to be okay. I think, again, it needs to be hit with a 3 or 4K pad just to break the shine. It's a little too clean and sharp out of the box, but the covers stayed dry and tacky on this one, so no issues there. The Super Coil core doesn't get the AI treatment for this one, but it doesn't really need it. It's got a 247RG 053 diff and an 023 int diff, so this thing doesn't really need to get any stronger. It's a rolly, fast revving core with plenty of torque, but it's not heavy rolling like the core and the gem, so it doesn't really slow down much, if at all. The DNA didn't either. The result is something that's clean and sharp, but still pretty strong. Before we get into ball reaction, the last several shots from Zach are kind of a masterclass on limit testing to actually find out what a ball will and won't do. A part of testing a ball isn't to just line up and throw strikes. Put it out in the oil, see how it handles it. Keep it a little closer to the pocket or play a tighter line and see how it handles that. Where's the miss room with it? How does it handle oil? How does it handle dry? Is it better being slow rolled or thrown harder, etc.? The second zone was the tightest one for him. I think Zach will likely knock the cover shine down some because it is pretty clean and quick. The speed he had to use to get it down the lane made it too long if he got it outside, but it's still a sharp enough ball that he had a very small window to get it down the lane and then through the pins the right way. Very similar to a reality check, but Zach said the coil is a little stronger and a little more continuous. The check was a bit more forward for him than the coil is. Interestingly enough, for those of you that watched Tobias's review, Zach has the coil and blackout exactly opposite in terms of moving inside. While Tobias's blackout was really stable and would come back from anywhere, the coil hit a pretty firm wall at about 4th arrow and just wiggled and went forward and didn't want to make it up the hill. Zach, however, was getting the coil back from everywhere while the blackout hit the wall instead. Now both balls look exactly the same for them, the same clean and sharp directional reaction from the coil and the super round, stable, and continuous shape out of the blackout have very similar strengths, but again, at about 4th arrow, the blackout started giving up on Zach while the coil kept moving. The coil is a pretty good fit for Zach because we've discussed before that he needs no help getting a ball to hook, so having something ultimately very strong but so clean that he can comfortably adjust speeds and hand positions means he's got a great ball down from the harsh reality, for example, that shapes very similarly, but that is just cleaner and sharper for when the harsh starts getting too strong, too early, both, or when transition forces him deeper than the harsh wants to get. The blackout again is in a similar space with how clean it is and the overall strength, but the shape is quite a bit rounder and definitely smoother for Zach. Now if the back ends are tight or he needs a little more control or needs to ball down but still be in the 3rd arrow zone where the coil was a little too sensitive from, the blackout will be a great option there. Again, there's a ton of overlap on overall strength, but quite a bit of difference as far as lane play zones and reaction shapes. It just depends on what you need, what your game favors, as far as reaction shapes go and where you typically play on the lane. The DNA coil is available now, as well as the Optimum Idol. Zach did not get one of those, by the way. Early and slow isn't a great shape for him, so he passed on it, but I do have an Optimum review featuring Tobias already up if you want to check that out. Down in the description is a link to Bowler's Mart that will get any of the balls featured in this video ordered for you. I do have to note that I do receive a 5% commission on all sales through the links, and of course don't forget my code ROSEDALL10 to get 10% off your order at checkout at CoolWick. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.